Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Here on Abby the Witch, we do tarot card readings among other witchy and alternative things. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning. Your support means the world to me. And if you are new here, hi, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. So today we're having a little bit of a different view, as you can see. I kind of wanted to start a new series on my channel called Tarot Talk. I know tons of other witchy channels do this as well. I really wanted to dive in deeper into the traditional tarot and just do one suit at a time and kind of just discuss deeper the meanings of each suit, and kind of have a conversation down below with you guys as to what you guys think as well. But I really just wanted to dive even deeper to each individual card in each suit. And I think later after we do all the suits, I'll definitely have a deeper tarot talk with the major arcana as well. By the way, you'll have to forgive me for the 2 band-aids I have today. I just got done chopping onions and sliced my 2 fingers on accident. So yeah, we're gonna have to deal with that, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and get started. I was gonna do the suit of wands first today, line them up in a row and just have a brief discussion about all the cards in the deck. So yeah, let's get started. Okay guys, so as you can see, I have all of my wands laid out here. I couldn't fit the entire thing all in one row, so I'm just gonna start with the first row down here, and then we'll scoot it down as we go. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Ace of Wands. We're just gonna start in order here. And we might not get through the whole suit of wands. I really want to. Again, just a brief discussion. I'll try not to ramble on about each card. But anyway, Ace of Wands. So in all of the aces, at least in the traditional tarot, you have this hand coming out of I think like a cloud and holding whatever the symbol is for that suit. So in this case, he's holding a wand, right? Definitely, for the whole suit of wands, I definitely think of it's definitely associated with the element of fire, definitely has to do with passion, drive, growth, and the suit of wands is really akin to a personal journey, right? Some kind of an awakening or some kind of project or some kind of personal journey that someone is going through, for sure. So if you look at the Ace of Wands, to me, with the suit of wands being akin to a personal journey and growth, I really look at the Ace of Wands as realizing potential, right? Understanding that you have potential. You have this potential, and that it's encouraging you to kind of grab the bull by the horns, if you will. Definitely encourages intuition, thinking with your gut more, thinking about what you're passionate about, thinking about what your potential is, right? I always think of the hand as handing you your potential, kind of like a wake-up call, yo, you got this, here, take it. This is your potential, take it, right? Moving on to the 2 of Wands, definitely is kind of like the first steps, right? It's the first steps after grabbing the bull by the horns. It's the first step after you really are okay, I realize my potential now. I am going to get the ball rolling. So it's kind of like the first steps. You're planning, you're thinking about your goals, you're thinking about what you want to do. And again, this doesn't have to be a project or anything like this, because this could be akin to a spiritual awakening. This could be akin to maybe learning something new. This could be akin to changing something about yourself that you want to grow or change, right? So definitely the 2 of Wands is, to me, is the first steps, right? Brainstorming, basically, okay? Now, the 3 of Wands, moving on, the 3 of Wands is definitely the project is kicking off, or the life journey, or the spiritual awakening. It's kicking off, it's getting started, right? Definitely has been implemented. It's getting started. It's in the very, very early stages, but definitely getting started. If you look at the picture, again, if it seems like I'm all over the place, this is the first time I'm doing this, guys, like having a tarot talk, so forgive me, I might be all over the place. But if you look at the picture, even though, I mean, obviously he doesn't have very many wands, right? He hasn't gotten super far yet. 2 of them are really in the ground. One of them looks like it might be starting to go into the ground. It's still in his hand. So it's implemented, it's starting, but it's not super deep yet, right? But yeah, it's definitely akin to you're almost like committed now, right? Like the ball is really rolling. So if we move on to the 4 of Wands, this is really representative to me as like a break, right? A time for celebration, a time to pause and reflect on this new journey that you've started, that you've successfully kicked off and started, right? Definitely encourages and symbolizes celebrating with close acquaintances, with friends, right? They're using, if you look at the picture, they're using their 4 wands to hold up decorations and they're celebrating underneath it. So it's kind of like saying like, hey, like, look at all these new things that you've started. Like, you need to celebrate it. You need to use these new things that you've implemented, or use these new things that you've been learning about or that you've been working on or what have you, and celebrate it with people that love you and people that support you. Celebrate it, right? So now getting a little deeper though, the 5 of Wands is almost like the opposite of the 4, really, to me. The 5 of Wands is getting a lot deeper into your journey, right? And it's kind of, what's the word? It's pretty much unavoidable that once you start getting more successful in whatever journey you're doing or whatever project or whatever anew that you're starting, you're gonna have errors. I call it errors of communication, or the traditional tarot calls it errors in communication, right? So that could mean all kinds of things. That could mean competition, right? Some people might be viewing you as competition. Some people might be jealous or envious, right? You might be trying to work with other people or get advice from other people, and maybe you disagree. Maybe you butt heads. Maybe it didn't work out, right? Maybe you are doing a project and it requires collaboration and there's been some miscommunication, right? It's kind of, like I said, it's unavoidable. Honestly, like, you're in life's journey, in life's path, you're gonna come across people who don't like what you're doing. You're gonna come across people who disagree with you. You're gonna come across people who, whatever, right? So this is kind of resembling those periods in your life, right, where you butt heads with other people. To me, that's definitely what this means. And it really does encourage too listening more and maybe changing your approach when it comes to other people, for sure. I mean, you look at the picture, that's very evident that this is what it represents. I mean, clearly they're fighting with their wands, right? Moving on to the next one now. We got the 6. And the 6 is kind of getting out of that. It's kind of going beyond the people who are jealous or envious. Of course, you're still going to have that no matter, how successful you are. Like, you're always going to have that. But now the 6 kind of represents admiration from other people. It represents people looking up to you. And also represents needing to be a little bit more open to praise and be more open to affirmations, be more open to appreciation from other people. People mean it when they say it, right? And that's kind of where I get this, or kind of how I got this card is, this is more about like, okay, you're really getting successful now in your journey, whatever you're doing on your path. You're being very successful and people are looking up to you for it, for sure. People are really looking up to you for it. I'm going to go ahead and scoot this row down. So the next one is our 7. And 7 is kind of going back to not necessarily maybe collaboration or communication errors, but 7 is definitely going back to the whole jealousy and envious thing, right? You are very successful at this point in your journey, and you're feeling very confident. However, other people are definitely seeing you as such. Like, they're definitely seeing how successful you are. They're definitely seeing how confident you feel in whatever you're doing. So they see you as competition, right? So you can even see in the picture, this person is trying to find their place back. You know, they're trying to find their status again. You're trying to maintain your position, right? Because there's a lot more competition. People are seeing you as competition. So they're trying to kind of knock your wands down. They're trying to knock you down. So you are trying to maintain your position, right? Maintain your success. And you're not allowing anyone to knock down your wands, is basically how I see this one, the 7 of Wands, okay? So moving right along, we have the 8 of Wands. Now, I really see this one as really coming after the 7, in that you've come out stronger, you've come out even more confident, right? And you've grown, and you have even more drive than before. I mean, you can see even in the picture, all 8 of your wands are driving forward, right? You have this drive, this almost like this fire in you, right? Well, I mean, there you go, wands, fire. And your wands are pushing forward, even though people are trying to knock you down. You have this sense of drive and forward mobility after going through the 7. So the 9, I just love the suit of wands. I think it's definitely, they all go in order. It's definitely a story. It's definitely a journey. It's akin to one's life's journey, right? The 9 is definitely, I almost view it as like someone who has been through a lot. I mean, I do actually. I view it as someone who's been through a lot. They've had their wands knocked down. They've had a lot of drive in their life. They've accomplished a lot. They've been very successful. And they're almost jaded to all the wands that are behind them, right? They're almost jaded and just almost take for granted the wands that are behind them. At the same time, though, you have this sense of confidence. You have this sense of hope. You really have this sense of strength and resilience. You've been through a lot, and you can take on anything. You're kind of standing there with your wand in your hand like, yeah, look at all these wands behind me. Like, look what everything I've done. Like, I know what I can do, and I know what I can do again if I need to do it. At the same time, though, it also represents coming so far and almost kind of taking for granted how far you've come. You've been through so much that it's almost like, yeah, I've been through a lot, and you're proud of it and everything, but you almost take it for granted. It almost comes up to remind you to look back and look at everything you've done. Look at all those wands set up behind you. Yes, you're very hopeful and you're looking forward and everything, but you still need to appreciate what you've already accomplished, right? I definitely feel like it's representative of that as well. Moving right along, we have the 10 of Wands now, 10 of Wands. Now, I feel like this goes hand in hand with the 9 because you do feel like, yes, I can take on anything. I've been through so much. But at the same time, you take for granted how much you've gotten done, and you feel like you've taken for granted how hard you've worked. And I feel like it's almost like being cocky a little bit. Like you kind of like take for granted how hard you've worked, so you feel like you can do anything, and then you take on too much. Is this fuzzy? I feel like, okay, I think it's okay. 10 of Wands is you're taking on too much, right? You have way too many wands. You have too much work on your plate. You have overloaded yourself because you've been through the Nine of Wands thinking, oh, I can take on anything. Well, you got a little too cocky, a little too ambitious, and that's okay. I mean, this is just one of life's lessons, right? Definitely represents being overworked, bit off too much that you can chew. How does that saying go? Bit off more than you can chew? For sure. So moving right along, I'll go ahead and put these guys up actually since we're done with the numbers. Okay, moving right along to the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands is definitely, you still have this potential, right? You still maybe have this desire, this really intense curiosity, but very inexperienced, right? You have these really great ideas that maybe aren't rooted and they haven't blossomed yet. Even if you look at the picture, you know, he's very curiously looking at his one wand, but he doesn't really know what to do with it yet. It's clearly not planted into the ground. He's kind of just studying it, curious about it, holding it, really wants to get to know it, but just doesn't really know where to get started. Definitely has great potential, great curiosity, an open, you know, blank slate, but definitely inexperienced. Oh, where's my Knight? I forgot my Knight of Wands. Hold on one second. Okay, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know how I forgot my Knight of Wands, but I did. So there it is. There's our Knight. Now, Knight of Wands really to me is like, to me, it's almost the most representative of the Suit of Wands. Because the Knight of Wands represents drive, energy, enthusiasm, and it encourages you to just go for it, to just do it, right? Even if you are a Page of Wands and you are inexperienced, it encourages you to just go for it. So it really, to me, represents the whole theme of the Suit of Wands, where it represents drive, fire, passion, transformation, growth, right? It's encouraging you to just do it, go for it, try it, right? That's really how I view the Knight of Wands. And, no, I'm sorry, Wands. And I always too, I think I've said this before, but with the Knight in almost any suit, I really view him as like guarding it, right? So he's like, he has this potential that you have. He has this interest, this curiosity that he's holding that belongs to you, and he's guarding it for you. And he's encouraging you to just take it and go for it, is what I really view it as, okay? Okay, so moving right along to the Queen and King of Wands. Now, I really view these just like any other suits, really. I mean, it's the King and Queen, right? So they're definitely equal, no matter what the gender. And both represent very extreme success, right? Extreme confidence in their abilities. Especially the Queen is very, very confident in her abilities. She's very, very focused. She's very charismatic. She knows what she needs to do to be successful, right? She has reached the end of her journey. She realizes that her journey isn't ending though, like her journey never ends, and she's extremely focused and knows what she needs to do to be successful, right? That's how I look at the Queen of Wands, for sure. People definitely look up to the Queen of Wands as well, for her charisma, for her confidence, for her focus, for her determination. And she encourages and influences people because of that as well, for sure. The King of Wands, very similar, very, very successful, just like the Queen, and is a very great leader, okay? He's definitely, like the Queen too, the most mature, right? Again, this is the end of the journey, right? So this is wisdom. This is confidence. This is success. This is being so confident and knowledgeable in this path that you've taken and what you've learned on this path that you've taken, that you're able to be a leader in whatever you've learned, right? Because you have so much confidence, right? Very mature because of the entire journey and everything that you've learned. And he knows what he needs to do to continue to thrive, okay? Just like the Queen, they know that the journey isn't actually ever over, but they know what they need to do. They have great focus. They're great leaders. They have great confidence. They have this knowledge and this wisdom that influences other people to look up to them and to be like them. Okay? For sure. Now, I understand that everyone's going to have maybe different opinions slightly depending on the cards. Also depending on the deck too. I mean, I have other decks that aren't quite as traditional as this, but still have all the suits, all the major arcana and everything, but the descriptions might be a little bit different. So, and I definitely depends on the context too, the situation, or if it's in reverse. It just depends, right? It depends on the person you're doing a reading on. It depends on the deck. It depends on the other cards if you're doing a whole spread. It really depends. But I still, like I said in the beginning, really want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys think about these cards. Do you feel very strongly or differently about any of the other cards? Please stay nice and respectful. But I still would really love to hear from you guys and what you guys think too. Oh, and I also wanted to talk about the King and Queen of Wands pictures. Like the Queen, at least in my traditional tarot, she has a black cat sitting in front of her, which could mean a lot of different things. And she's holding a sunflower, right? The King of Wands has a black newt. And I gotta say, I am very curious about it. And I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that means anything? Do you think it's just decorative? I mean, surely it's got to have more symbolic purposes, right? I mean, I know the black cat and the sunflower especially has got to have some kind of symbolism. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and staying here. I know this isn't the most exciting video, but hey, knowledge is power, and definitely wanted to dive in deeper on the meanings of these cards. Again, please comment down below what you think. If you have a severe or intense opinion about anything, again, be kind, but let me know. And until next time, guys, I hope you stay well. Thank you. Bye.